Hello and welcome to another episode of Geared Toward Gear. My name is Sean and I'm glad you're here. If you're a first-time viewer, please do consider subscribing for future content such as this. And in the description, you'll find links to my social media accounts. I'm pretty active on Instagram and Facebook, so you can follow me there as well. Today, we're talking about the Boker Tech Tool 1, which is not on the table currently, but I wanted a quick touch on slip joint knives or non-locking knives. I love folding knives, I love fixed blades, I love all different locking mechanisms, but it's not all locking knives around here. And I do like a good slip joint, whether it's a traditional pattern like a trapper or a sod buster or something like a Victorinox in any size, shape, or form that's non-locking. And then even some more modern iterations like a Spyderco Spy DK or a Spyderco Rhodey. So I do like slip joint knives quite a bit. When you're talking traditional knives, you're probably thinking of patterns like, the trapper or a stockman or a toothpick or a sod buster. These are truly traditional patterns that have been around forever. As we get into things like the Victorinox, although they have been around for a long time, it's not what you would necessarily think of as kind of your grandfather's pocket knife, but it is a slip joint non-locking knife. This happens to be the Victorinox Swiss Army 1, which I like quite a bit. And then the Spydercos are a little more modern. The Rhodey is going to have N690 steel, made in Italy. So definitely not a traditional steel, a little more high-end. These things are tiny, and I like them quite a bit. I've got a few of them. Compared to my pinky, you can see how small that little guy is. So that's the Spyderco Rhodey. And then lastly, the Spyderco Spy DK. These were originally marketed in Denmark to meet their rules and regulations there. Also Italian-made N690 steel. Really like these. I'm kind of disappointed to stop making them, but now we're getting into definitely more of a modern slip joint in that it's got kind of a higher-end steel, non-traditional handle material, and a pocket clip. So still a slip joint, just not the one your grandfather would have carried, for sure. But the one I want to talk about today specifically is the Boker Tech Tool 1. And these have been around for a while, but there's two that I recently purchased that are new to me, different handle scale options that I was really excited about. So let's talk about the Boker Tech Tool in general. So the Tech Tool line from Boker includes, and I'll bring a couple others here just so you have something to look at. The Boker Tech Tool line includes everything from single-bladed knives like the ones you're looking at right now, all the way up to like 8 or so tools included. And they'll be called things like the Tech Tool 1, which you see here, or the Tech Tool 3, 4, 7, 8. And as the number gets higher, the number of tools increases. And so a Tech Tool 8, for example, is going to have 8 tools, and it's going to look more like a Swiss Army knife and have things like pliers and scissors and drivers and things of that nature. But the Tech Tool line is simply that. It's a line of tools that vary in size and implements. The color variations that you see are also designated for the lineup. So anything in the Tech Tool line that has a black G10 handle scale is going to be called the City version. So this is the Boker Tech Tool 1 City. Anything with a green handle is going to be called the Outdoor version. So that's the Boker Tech Tool 1 Outdoor. And then this is simply called the Boker Tech Tool 1 Carbon Fiber in that it has a carbon fiber laminate on top of the G10 scale. So that's kind of the basic overview of the Boker Tech Tool line and kind of how they put that together. But the Boker Tech Tool 1 for me is kind of a perfect EDC, modern but still kind of classic slip joint knife. And so let's talk specs on the Tech Tool, and we'll use the outdoor version for this. So we're looking at an overall length of 6.5 inches, a blade length of 2.75 inches, a blade stock thickness of 0.1 or 1/10 of an inch. So I think appropriate for this size knife, not too thin, not too thick. It's a drop point design, very classic blade shape with that nail nick for opening, mirror polish. And the blade steel is going to be a Sandvik steel, a Swedish-made steel. And it's 12C27. And 12C27, it's a good steel. It's not a super steel at all. A lot of people would call it a budget steel. But when it's treated properly and they get the right kind of combination between carbon and chromium, it gives it really good hardness, like 58 to 60 Rockwell, Really excellent corrosion resistance, so this is probably not going to rust on you, and also very wear resistant. So it's not a bad steel. It's a budget steel, but it's still quality, being from a well-known steel manufacturer, the company Sandvik. So Sandvik C27 is what we're working with for blade steel. I believe I already mentioned the blade length is 2.75 inches. The weight on this is just 2 ounces, so super lightweight. It's very slim, which is why I love carrying it. It's about 4/10 of an inch thick, or 0.4 inches thick. And the pocket clip is going to be both tip up or tip down. It comes in the tip down configuration, which I have it in now. But as you can see from the hardware down there, you can swap that for tip up. Excuse me. So the handle material is going to be G10, and they do a really excellent job on the G10 with these tech tools. It's not a true polished G10, but it's very smooth, contoured nicely, and just looks really nice. And one thing that's kind of odd that I could kind of go without is the glass breaker on the back. And these exist on every Boker Tech tool, whether it's the 1 or the 6 or the 8. They all have a glass breaker. I could take it or leave it, but it's there. So you've got a glass breaker, a pocket clip, nice G10 handle scales, a decent steel, and a two-handed opening knife. And the way I typically would close a knife like this is, I guess, kind of the traditional way, which would be to use the webbing of my hand and just kind of close it shut in that fashion. Sometimes I will just use the palm of my hand on the spine of the blade and close it that way. And then for one-handed closing, you can just kind of get it started just enough to kind of break that spring tension, and then close it the rest of the way. And then lastly, against your pant leg or any hard surface, you can just put the spine of the blade and close it that way as well. So those are kind of your options for opening and closing. Again, it is a nail nick, so you do need 2 hands to open this. There's not really a way I could think of, unless you're really want to risk cutting yourself, to open this with 1 hand. But I do like that, just every now and then it's nice to carry a slip joint knife. And in my experience in EDC tasks, these have never failed me. Opening packages and letters and cutting strings off t-shirts, the things we use our knives for most often, this is going to get the job done. We don't always need a lock on our knife, in my opinion. And I don't personally use my folding knives for self-defense options. I have other options for that that I would go to before a knife. And so for me, this is a great EDC, and I love carrying them. Again, just being super lightweight and just the classic design really speaks to me. The blade, as you open it, it does not have a half stop. And so a lot of slip joints, and we'll take a look at the Spyderco again, this has a true half stop. And that simply means that when you open the blade, about halfway, you may hear a click, it stops. So it's kind of stuck in that position, and then you just open it the rest of the way. As you close this knife, you'll hear, possibly if I can get it close enough, you probably didn't hear that, but it just hit the half stop. So, I'm kind of tapping the blade, it's not going anywhere. A little bit of pressure and we'll close the rest of the way. But the idea with the half stop is that if you close it one-handed by pushing on the spine of the blade, it's going to stop, and it just hit its half stop. So it's not going any further until I reorient my grip and put some more pressure on the blade. The Tech Tool does not have that, and I'm okay with it. I don't think it's fully necessary. Again, just break the spring tension just enough, and then you can close it one-handed. I will say the spring tension on these are great. You'll hear a very positive click when it opens, and it's a pretty strong back spring, so well done, Boker, on that. So I love the Tech Tools, and I've got several. So I just got 2 new ones. We looked at the carbon fiber, the outdoor version, and then the city version, black. But the 2 that I just picked up came from the website CountyComm, and they are exclusive to CountyComm, and they are orange G10, which I think looks pretty nice. If I can get a focus on that. I think the orange looks really good there. And then the one I'm most excited about is the natural canvas micarta. And I think that just looks fantastic. A lot of micarta that I've had in the past is very thready, where you can, the actual threads of the canvas are kind of pulling out of the knife. or out of the scales. Sometimes it's very, very highly polished and slick and kind of has a sheen to it. And this is kind of right in the middle, a true natural finish. And I just think it looks awesome on this knife. So I was really excited about that. And those both came from CountyComm. They did not come in the standard Boker packaging. They came in these little plastic tubes with Boker branded like tissue paper around them, which I thought was kind of whatever, a little odd, but it is what it is. So these three here, the City, the Outdoor, and the Carbon Fiber, are pretty readily available, and they're going to run you about $35 a piece. Oddly enough, the two exclusives from CountyComm, the Orange and the Micarta, are actually cheaper. The Orange, I think, was like $27, and the Micarta maybe $31 or $32. So you're actually going to pay less for those exclusives than you are for the standard offerings. And they are still available. I'll leave a link to CountyComm in the description. But one thing to point out, if you happen to search for these on CountyComm and not use the link, they do not call these Boker Tech Tools on their website. And if you're familiar with CountyComm, they do government contract work. So they create products for different government agencies, and then they make the excess available to the public. So that's how you get decent prices, because they make a lot of these things, and the prices are generally pretty good. So CountyComm's a fun website. They got a lot of really cool stuff. But on their website, they call these the single blade Boker slip joint knife. So they don't call it the Tech Tool for whatever reason. So if you search for it, search for single blade Boker slip joint knife, and you will find it. Again, you can use the link below if you want to get to it a little more quickly. But that is the Boker Tech Tool 1 in all of its glory, in the different handle materials and colors that are available. And to my knowledge, these are the only ones available. These were standard offerings from Boker, these two from CountyComm. If there's others that you're aware of, other colors, blue, purple, whatever, that you know of, definitely let me know in the comments, because I'd be interested to add more to my collection. Because again, I just really love the classic kind of shape, the slip joint, the blade shape, everything about it just works for me, and it's super comfortable, no hot spots whatsoever, and a very capable and functional EDC knife for your light to medium duty tasks, food prep, things like that. So that is the Boker Tech Tool 1. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I'll talk to you soon.